been about a month's time since the last time we talked about anything of any Loli Doujin, so you already know what time it is. We're gonna be looking through 4 of these damn things and seeing what exactly is the peakness and the sauceness. And also, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there because I kinda had a slightly rough time trying to find stuff, and that is the fact that you guys can also in the comments tell me some fire Loli Doujins that, you know, maybe will pique my interest of any kind. I'm looking for anything that's basically unique, something that does wild stuff with a story, and overall it's just a little bit crazy. It can also be something that's just completely normal and maybe be, you know, something that's actually pretty dang good, but still, I'm here for the unique stories. I'm here for the wild and stuff that I may not be able to see or didn't catch, honestly. So again, leave those in the comment sections and let me know. So the first doujin I want to start out with, and I guess this one is a pretty alright one, I suppose. At least I like the art in this one. It's not really anything crazy, but this one has to do with Sokaku and ZZZ and her getting clapped up really nicely, which honestly I don't really care that much for Sokaku, but after kind of looking at the art of this whole doujin, I kind of wouldn't mind sticking it in her either. I wouldn't say no. This one's called Area Code 8585, which this is basically nothing but a cleaner and more happier version of Euphoria. If you've seen that Gentai, you kind of already know how this would have an idea of how it can go. Essentially, it's just Wise and Sokaku kind of just, I guess, chilling together in the beginning, only for them to touch fingertips. The hell did you think I was going to talk about? Touch horns, touch dicks. She don't have one, which I'll be terrified she did. Once they touch tips, they end up just getting naked automatically. And essentially, the whole idea of this doujin is just like, yo, if you want to escape this hollow, you want to escape this room and situation, you're going to have to clap cheeks and do some wild and stuff. And that's essentially all this doujin is. It's not anything crazy or anything like that. I like Sokaku's personality in this, where, you know, she's basically her in-game self, except just more down for the cause. Which don't let Yanagi know about this, because I feel like she'll stick that whole staff up your ass, and it's not gonna be a good time for you and for your cousin and the guy that's basically watching me through the damn window. I see you, you bitch. But when it comes down to it though, yeah, it's not necessarily that bad. It just makes me realize, okay, maybe I was a bit harsh on Sokaku. Maybe I should stick my dick inside those Oni cheeks of hers, because why the hell not? I like how Wise in this too is also just like, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and just say we can't do this, but then again, we gotta get out of here, so I guess we should. And then ultimately afterward, just like, yeah, I suppose we could just do it some more, and just when we have the time. I mean, it can't be that damn bad. And considering how he also kind of mentions Bell in this doujin too, at least in the beginning, kind of talking about how Sokaku is calling him Oni-chan and all that sort of stuff. He's just like, well, Bell's the only person that calls me that, so it's kind of weird, right? So you already knew the rule book. You already had the handbook in check. I see how it is, Wise. You just try to get any cheeks that you can. But overall, it's not anything crazy. It's just like, hey, what if you just got to clap Sokaku's cheeks for whatever reason? So that's just kind of what it is. The art's really good, so I'll say about 6 out of 10 for this one. The next one we have today is Shall I Carry Your Puny Dick, Unk? I hate it here. My gamer Megusaki niece. I'm not gonna lie, this should just automatically not be put into this video, mainly for the fact that you use the phrase unk. I don't care for the new gen phrase of that. I don't care for it at all. I have one more year before I hit big bro status, and then apparently when you hit like 35, you're supposed to be unk status at that point, which sounds like a shit time. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. But when it comes down to it though, yeah, I really didn't think this was gonna hit as hard as it should, or would I have considered this to be the favorite for this month's version of this Loli Doujin video. But she's kind of bad though. Can I be real? Like, I believe that the character's name is Shoko or Shioko or something like that. She's just kind of bad, right? Yeah, she out here bullying with people, you know, on that Megusaki nonsense, as we have seen before time and time again with certain Loli characters and VTubers. It's just a thing that happens. But honestly though, she kind of for it. She's a gotcha gamer girl, and just to, you know, be absolutely real, if she was right there in front of you talking about some 10 pulls, I got 10 shots I can just unload into you real quick. That's just ultimately how it is, right? And then she also just kind of lets stuff happen. And it's a fantastic time, right? She gets so immersed into her gaming that she just lets stuff kind of go. Also, there was a fun moment where she's just getting clapped up really nicely, and her mom ended up calling, and so she's just like, oh, I gotta act like I'm doing nothing wrong here while, you know, my unk right here just kind of beating the cheeks in real quick. So it's a fantastic time. Granted, if I was also that guy, I would not necessarily hesitate to clap her cheeks on the phone as well. She asking for it for most of the damn time. Also, I feel like her design is also really dang good. Like, whoever the artist is that decides to design this character this way, they knew how to cook. They drew the ass cheeks really nicely. They drew the design of the hair of the character super good as well. Like, she literally just looks good. There's nothing really negative here to say whatsoever. And the fact that she just kind of lets stuff happen and, you know, kind of just let things continue on the way she kind of thinks she's in control, but really not really so, because, you know, the uncle kind of just getting the cheeks whenever the hell he wants to, even if it wasn't his intention in the beginning, but still, it is what it is. He's just diving in, and again, who would blame them for all this nice ass that you got here, right? Like, if she was somebody else's niece clapping for days, I can imagine so. Now, obviously, is this like the most wild story I've ever seen? Of course not, but character design and art carries a doujin a long, hard way. Pause. So I would deadass give this show like an 8 out of 10. This is not necessarily that bad, and kind of the best one for this week in terms of, like, I guess art as well, and design of how certain things kind of went. So at least for me, that's just kind of how it is. But this next one though, I'm not gonna lie, it's also hitting that unique factor that I like to see. You know how you have a whole creepypasta of a woman, Hashaku, who likes to be dressing up in white, take kids somewhere where they be going missing and haunting the hell out of people with the po 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 sound, right? Sound like they're about to call damn police. Well, now you got the opposite side of the spectrum. You got Yanshaku, the 4 feet tall woman. Yes, that is literally what this is. It's just Loli Hashaku, but it's Loli. What else the hell did you thought it was going to be? And this is just a fun one. So when it comes down to it, you get people that comes to this random village that gets haunted by Yonshaku, and essentially they kind of come here just because they hear this legend that, oh yeah, this short-haired lolly chick, or this short lolly chick or whatever, that's dressed up in all white, is essentially, you know, what people come here for whatever reason. And so this one guy is basically here for that exact reason. No one really sees her but, you know, obviously the people themselves that can. And when it comes down to it though, they just, you know, kind of get whatever they want. Free use for the team, free use all the time. She's not necessarily denying anything, she's just going ahead and letting it happen, you know? That's just ultimately what it is. You're getting the best cheeks of days, clapping it for weeks on end. It's literally a peak ass time, right? I would say, honestly, I'd honestly say it gives Toshi Densetsu's Hashaku a little run for her dang money, considering she's like tall and big booba as hell, and honestly really worth it. But when it comes down to it though, the big problem is, because she's ghost, because Japan just do not play fair when it comes to their ghosts, you're clapping, sure, but you're also clapping yourself. And essentially at the very end of this whole damn doujin, he ends up just getting killed because he was just shooting out here, and here, and ultimately died because of it. But hey, at least he died happy. But when it comes down to it, now we get another poor sap that comes through thinking that they about to clap cheeks, and they are, but they're gonna also meet the same damn fate as well. So it's just an infinite glitch of just straight up death, disaster, good, you know, a good time, but still, ultimately, you're getting cleaned out, you're getting whacked out, and you're gonna get ragged out once she's done with you, right? That's just how it is when it comes down to anybody that comes here. I like doujins like this because it parodies very well to obviously something that's already established, and then they go ahead and be like, all right, what about if we just did it the opposite way? You know, it's not anything like super overly crazy or anything like that, but I like it that it tries to be unique in some shape or form. When it comes to me and lollies, I don't really sit here and just be super observant of the flatness, but I'm not gonna lie, Yanshaku here is kind of flatness. It's honestly pretty damn enticing. So to keep it very much a stat, I'd give this like a 7 out of 10. This ain't necessarily that bad, but honestly, it's just really a good read and just something quick to kind of breeze through. And I guess to cap off all the Doujins that we talked about today, especially the last one where we had literally the whole guy shooting semen everywhere, we should talk about the one where you don't get to waste your semen to go everywhere, which, pause on all of that, that's a phrase I didn't think I was ever really going to say for one of these videos. But this next Doujin has to be the contender for it, which is every sperm is sacred. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have mixed feelings reading this one, mainly because of the religious elements into it, and I'm not gonna lie, I know a lot, or at least a fair amount of things about, you know, religion and stuff like that, and it's just like, I don't like how it's mixing a lot of stuff, but at the very same time, it's kind of done it in a really good way, right? It's a little weird, but basically you get this sister, and I don't think they even have a name, which is very sad and unfortunate, but you have this sister here who is basically kudere as hell, nonchalant as I don't know what, and essentially is just not here effing with people, wasting their seed all over the place because they try to beat it off or anything like that. So obviously it's very sinful to do so. Instead of trying to, you know, go ahead and shoot it all out, because why not? You just need to get it out and over with. You need to shoot it in her and then make it worth its time, you know? Make sure that you can be cleansed of all the evil that you have done with that. And that's really the basic gist of how this whole thing kind of went, right? And it's a little bit more in depth than what I was thinking, because it's just like, oh yeah, you pay her to kind of do this, and then you just go ahead and clap her cheeks so you get rid of whatever you need to. But even she kind of realizes, oh yeah, they're kind of clapping my cheeks for literally, you know, just to get off onto this sort of thing. That's what this is. Not really to better themselves, it's just for them to get off on this. And so the church that, you know, she's under is obviously full of corruption and nonsense like this too, and everybody just kind of joining up on the church just so they can have a chance to take her booty. And that's essentially what this is, and that's essentially how that kind of goes for a while, until they find some other random guy that comes through and it's essentially just like, you know, running around the whole grounds of the church naked as hell, and they're about to try to deal with him, but then the sister's like, nah, bring him over here, because I gotta take care of this guy. He's having a really bad time, right? He needs to be cleansed pronto. And so he basically just go ahead and clap her cheeks, but while also countering the teachings of that church and whatever. And so essentially, because he's using some different methods of making some pleasurable things happen, and you know, that's not really something that they follow when in that church and ritual and whatever, essentially she starts actually enjoying sex for the first time. She's actually starting to enjoy it. She's actually starting to moan and all that sort of stuff. And once it was all over and they basically have to, you know, go their separate ways, the dude's name, literally, and I can't make this up, the guy's name is Fulchin Luther. Like, you know, like the actual Luther guy that broke up the church with the 9-to-5 things that he tapped onto the wall of the church or the door of the church, and to kind of call out the church on being nonsense, you know, because you can't pay your way to get out of hell with, you know, paying off your sins. That's just not how that works. That guy, yeah. So basically this whole thing was just a parody of the Protestant church and how it came to be, or at least how it, you know, the revolution of that came to be. I didn't think I was getting a history lesson when it comes to effing a lolly, but okay, I suppose that's just how it is though. So yeah, this easily became one of the more wilder and out-of-pocket doujins just off of this alone. The fact that you went out of your way to parody something like this and then just say, you know what, yeah, this is perfectly fine, why not? It's a bit wacky, it's a bit crazy, but this is the unique stuff that I wouldn't even be too mad about. This is something that, while in the wheelhouse of religion, and I have a mixed feeling on that, it's not necessarily something that I'm just sitting here like, you know what? I don't like this, because I kind of honestly do. Also, just to kind of keep very much intact, the sister looked fine as hell, right? There's no way I could sit here and just be like, oh, I wouldn't want to, you know, pump it up in the sister, because yeah, I would. Like, forgive me, but honestly, you don't need to be walking around with like some, you know, tape on your whole coup and thinking like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna have any weird or dark thoughts, because of course I would, right? We're gonna have to solve this forgiveness stuff out later, but for now, let me go ahead and try to, you know, unleash some seed within the actual space of what I need to garden with, right? If we're gonna actually be on that type of time, and let me me sow some seeds within the sister, like just so it don't go to waste. But easily, I'd argue, even though the other Doujin was really dang good, the Megasaki one, I think this is like a 9 out of 10, right? I still favor that one, but still, this one is just really good. I can't even sit here and lie. But that is all I say the Doujins that I got for you today. Not really a lot of crazy stuff, but there is definitely some stuff in here that's just like, whoa, okay, that's not what I was expecting. But you know, I'll take it, and it is what it is, right? So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out, also on the socials. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until next time, boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.